Today's 4 Deep Sports Talk show is supported by PTU Clinic. Visit ptuclinic.com. Adria's Restaurant and Banquet Facility of East Bridgewater. For more information, their website is adriasrestaurant.net. And the Boston Athletic Academy at bostonathleticacademy.org.
Okay, hello and welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk. That is our bad for the slow start for a second, was just organizing a couple things. We're going to be highlighting Swansea baseball today. We have Coach Dave Olmschneider, as well as one of the players, Aiden Bates, with us. And we also have Brady Kudo, the Case High School sports announcer and Seekonk Speedway announcer. Thank you guys for coming on the show today.
Joe, thank you for having us again.
Yeah, no problem at all. We will be having Dominic Damiano joining us in a minute. We have Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KCRA. Justin Ferreira, the sports master, will be out today. Hopefully he recovers soon, and he'll be back with us in the studio. Lucy Cabral, the paparazzi, is outside right now. But we are going to continue on with the interview and just start this off. So last season, do you know the exact record? I believe it was around 11-10, 11-9-ish, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, Aiden.
It was 15-8, I'm pretty sure.
15-8, okay. The website I looked at was completely wrong. That was my bad, guys. So, coming off a 15-8 season, what are you looking to improve and kind of build upon in the next season? Because obviously that's a very, very strong start. Did not expect the mic to fall there. That is on us.
That's okay. I think this group, I was fortunate to have this group. They established kind of a culture, a way to do things. So I'm hoping that we have a foundation established that this is what Case baseball is about. This is how you conduct yourself. This is how you work. It's going to be tough to duplicate. This group was a special group, but we look forward to the challenge. I think we have some kids coming in behind this group that watch the way they did business and learn to do things the right way, and I hope that leads to future success.
Yeah, I think it definitely will, because when you have the building blocks already in place, it makes it a lot easier to grow upon a foundation instead of just building from nothing at that point.
Right, for sure.
So one thing I wanted to ask you, Brady, you've been announcing sports at Case High School. How is the collaboration between the two teams, like the team of the broadcasters and the team of the actual athletes, been working together in that whole process?
So at least from my point of view, I wasn't able to at least announce baseball. I did follow them closely, but in talking with Keegan Hamlet, who you guys had on several weeks ago, he said that it was great. He enjoyed it. And at least I've known Coach U forever. When I started doing basketball, he did PA over there. And you've always been great to us. And so I think in learning, Keegan was going to be doing it, and I said, I think he was actually worried about you. I was like, you don't have any reason to be. He's going to give you everything you need, every tool, anything that you need to make the broadcast successful.
Yeah, no, when you have a coach that actually supports what you're doing, it
Yeah.
helps a lot with the job. Like, if the coach does not want to help the broadcasters out, it's going to make it real
Because you
difficult.
were one when you were doing
I
SEC Game of the Week.
But we also had, going back to my years at Portsmouth, every single game was on the radio at
Right.
WADK out of Newport. So we actually built, you'll be jealous, Brady, we actually, because they did so many games, we actually built them a press box.
Oh, wow.
Over the,
No kidding.
cinder block, and
Wow.
he had a lot of community support. So they had their own press box, up above the field, higher level. It was above a storage garage concession stand. So, with that experience, you learn to, it's all about the kids and getting their name out and, the more recognition for them. So absolutely, you want to give you guys everything you need to highlight, their hard work and their successes.
Yeah, so, Coach, you've been involved in the broadcasting field for a little bit. It's not something that's just very recent with Brady's joining with this.
No, so back in high school, I was probably more like Brady than either one of us would like to admit. I did similar, did a little bit of the cable access stuff back in the early 90s at Tiverton High. And then I was fortunate at my time at Durfee, WSAR, I knew the program director, and he asked, would you be interested in doing some football games, some basketball games for us? We did a football game every week that I was play-by-play on, and basketball, we got to pick 10 select games during the season. So, it's something I enjoyed doing. I did the Thanksgiving football game there, Durfee and New Bedford for a few years. It's fun. It's something that was a passion of mine when I was younger. But you just run out of time in the day, and so it's nice to see people like you guys that are young and really interested in going into the field, and so of course that's also something we want to support.
Yeah, because it's a fun field.
Oh, exactly.
You come here with a smile on your face. I go to the Speedway every Friday, and I'd go to the Monahan or Cardinal Stadium. Very rarely did I have a frown on my face, but I think that's the biggest thing is just enjoy it, right? Whether you're with Sponsored Cable Access or you're with Fox Sports. Like I think you did it because you enjoyed it. I do it because I enjoy it. You do it because you enjoy it. That's the biggest thing with this.
No, the entire industry runs around the enjoyment factor.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you said, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't come into this job just angry at what you're doing or bored
No,
at
no,
what
no,
you're
no.
doing. And it's not something that you phone in through the day. You just continue it out naturally.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, Coach, when Brady mentioned that you had a little bit of broadcasting in the past, you kind of brushed it off a little bit. That seems like a lot more that you're keeping hidden. You're announcing football and basketball games.
Yeah. It was fun. It was something that I did more as a, I would say, as a passion than, to go into as a career when I was younger. I did go to college for it, but it just became, it's a tough field to break into. You can do it like at a local level, and I made the decision that, I enjoyed coaching more, and that was something that I wanted to pursue and follow rather than the broadcasting. I'm not Brady. Brady is passionate and, loves it and does a good job. And
Thank you.
so I would say, similar to Brady's passion for broadcasting, I went the way of coaching, and, it is what it is. But when I have the chance to jump back in every once in a while, I will do it. I think last year or 2 years ago, it was last year, WSAR called and said, will you do one of the games? And, I said I need to be at Case. It's part of my responsibilities to work the football games. So, I'd rather see guys like you and Brady and the young people get involved and continue to grow in the industry.
No, that's a great viewpoint on that, Coach. One thing I wanted to ask you about, as coaching and broadcasting are two different kind of spectrums of sports, as it's not actually the pure athletic part. When you're announcing a game, you have to kind of analyze what's going on in the game, pick apart what the other coach's mind is. Do you think having that broadcasting experience gave you a little bit of different viewpoint on the field and perspective when you're looking at what the other coach was doing against you?
Yeah, I think having experience in each of the fields was important in, being a coach and dealing with, and I'm sure Dom will tell you, dealing with umpires, you kind of know the things you can say and shouldn't say. And early on, I would say in my coaching career, there were some things that I probably, when I was younger, said that came back to bite you. And then you'd say, well, why, somebody would say, why'd you say this on the air? Or why'd you say this in the paper? Or why'd you say, why didn't you say this? So I think from an experience standpoint, you learn, like, maybe I don't want to be – I want to be unbiased and, say what I see, but maybe I don't want to be so critical in my assessment of things. I know I can relay a story, when I was younger and doing what Brady's doing now as a high school kid at Tiverton. And I went on the cable access and I said what I thought, and I think the coach is making a mistake here, and I don't know why he's doing this and not doing this. And that was on a Friday night, and come into school on the following Monday, and the athletic director says, "Do you realize that you're a 17-year-old kid who went on and criticized a Hall of Fame coach?" And
That's awesome.
I kind of sat back and said, I didn't think of it that way. I think we get hung up on, Joe Buck can pull it off, and Troy Aikman can do it because he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. But sometimes I sat back and said, I learned from that experience, like maybe I don't want to do that. And then again, as a coach, you sit back and somebody will come to you and say, "Hey, did you hear what they said about you on the air?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think the perspective was, as having that broadcasting experience at a young age, I was able to separate it and sit back and say, those guys have a job they do. That's their job. I have my job. It is what it is. They have a right to have an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to tell them how to broadcast. You know, I'm not going to worry about them telling me how to coach. It is what we have two different jobs to do, and I think I agree with you. I think they have to coexist, and we have to respect one another, and it is what it is.
Yeah, Coach, at first when I was viewing it, I was wondering if when you were actually in the game time situation, if you'd view the game a little different, but you brought up a really good point of it just kind of separating the media from actual reality, because a lot of people kind of get sucked into the belief that media and reality are just the same exact thing, but
Right.
it's not. It's
Right.
people's opinions on what's going on. It's not the exact reality of what's going on.
Yeah. And I guess to get back to your question, would I say that anything I did in broadcasting has an impact on how I coach a game? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of a situation where I said, well, I would like to do this, but if I do, I think that mostly comes from all your experience, like, you know, things you've seen when you're broadcasting a game. Like, hey, I remember this, you know, this situation happened in a game I was broadcasting, and the coach did this and it didn't work out so well, so I'll do something different.
Yeah.
But that's not only broadcast, that's all your experiences, whether you're coaching, whether you're watching, you know, I've taken stuff to the high school level and said, hey, I did this in a game that I was coaching my son's 12-year-old team, and you know what? This is the same situation. I'm going to do that. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think, you know, whether you're broadcasting or coaching or whatever you're doing in life, you learn from all your experiences and try and take it forward to make the best decision you can.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Coach. We are ready for our first break, but I definitely want to continue the conversation we were having. We had a little bit of conversation about the life experience changes your way of coaching, obviously, as you just mentioned right there, kind of bring in different aspects or anything you've done. When we come back, I want to talk to Brady a little bit. I saw a little head nod around the Joe Buck conversation. Not the biggest Joe Buck fan sometimes myself, so definitely want to go into that. We are highlighting Swansea/Case baseball. We'll be back right after this.
A popular destination, Adria boasts a breathtaking panoramic view of nature in all of its glory in each and every season. Upon visiting their 200-seat restaurant, you will see 3 distinctive areas. The lounge area includes their spacious 26-seat dining bar, high-top tables, and dining tables, all with viewing access to 7 high-definition televisions and 3 Kino monitors. A second area set apart from the lounge offers booths and tables to accommodate every member of the family. The third area, a few steps down and separated from the main restaurant by windows, is known as the Fairway Room. It is surrounded by a wall of windows offering not just a fabulous view, but a feeling of serenity and tranquility. It is a favorite spot for lunch, dinner, and functions. It is perfect for a romantic dinner, a casual family gathering, business meeting, or any large group for that special occasion.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk here at 1320 AM WARA. We are highlighting the Swansea Case High School baseball team with Coach Dave Almschneider, Aiden Bates, and Brady Kudo. What's your name?
Reed.
Reed.
It's the coach's
right.
son, right?
Yeah, he's
Coach's son.
Oh. So anyhow, you can call in at 508-222-1320 if you have any questions for the team. So I want to jump into my first question. It's for Brady. So you said you call baseball?
I almost did, but I was fortunately I couldn't. We had something. The one game I was able to call, there was another event that same day that the town had to cover, so we couldn't. But right now, I'm at Seekonk Speedway. I'm at the Action Track of the East. I'm there every Friday night, calling our it's called Fast Friday events. So I do those, and whenever we have when I can, I get in there and I try to do some of the throw shows. There's actually one today. I can't do it. But yeah, I'm over there now, and just it is a lot. I don't want to steal your question. So
That's all right.
I'll let you go. Go ahead. What are you gonna ask?
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you call any other sports besides?
Yeah, so after, obviously, I did a couple times, I've been on here before, I talked about my endeavors in basketball, volleyball, and soccer, but now I'm diving into a whole new world of motorsports, right? Something I didn't know a lot about until this past May when I started. And right now, I mean, I'm doing that. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very different. I work with 2 other announcers over there. I primarily work with a gentleman by the name of Kevin Boucher, who's been there for 27 years. He's very good at what he does. So I've been able to learn under him a little bit. And I also work with a gentleman by the name of Sam Tully. Sam also started this year like I did as a graduate of UVM. Really, really nice guy. Great announcer as well. So I've been opened up to a whole new world of sports. And right now I'm just keeping my eyes and ears open. If any town near Swansea is in the need of an announcer, whether it be, play-by-play, PA, whatever it may be, then, I'm open to it.
And we're going to talk about an internship possibly here as well. If you're interested.
Of course.
I also know that, of course, a lot of you know that I work for 8 different towns in cable access television. So Fall River.
That's a lot of towns.
Yeah, Fall River is one of the towns that is interested in calling sports, and I do a lot of their soccer games, basketball games, and at college level, it's completely different. But it's an experience, definitely an experience. So commendable, Brady. I mean, you're on your way. I really think the object of this whole broadcasting thing is doing your homework and getting to know whatever sport it is, that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And to have that experience in the different sports is, second to none.
And I'm
really.
now able to dive into all sports
Yep.
through my podcast.
There you go.
It's called the Sports Saga Podcast. I have an episode coming out tomorrow. Please, if anyone, if you can take a moment. We're on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe. We're on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I've got different usernames for a bunch of whatever, but the main one is our Instagram. That's where the most content goes. It's at the Sports Saga Podcast. I have a link tree in there. You get all our socials. That has been really eye-opening to me because I've been very lucky to have had many guys who have made it in this business, most notably being a gentleman by the name of Andrew Catalan, who works for CBS Sports, does the NFL, he does the PGA Tour, guy by the name of John Fanta. I'm sure you know him as a PC fan, Coach. Does a lot of Fox play-by-play. He's now a writer. I've had him on to name a couple. I'm not trying to brag, but and if I come across that way, I'm sorry. But that's the reality of it. It's guys who
No Joe Buck?
no Joe
Jojo
Buck.
Buck. It's great.
You know me well. But just guys that, I'm even a former intern of yours, Brett Schaubs, who was the voice of the Brockton
There you
Rocks,
go.
and I'm telling you, he's going to be. If I'm graduating college, I want to be like, oh, Brett just got a job? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Just good, he's the voice of the, I don't know, Giants. I'm not surprised at all. But I think even just having that and promoting my own brand and in showcasing another part of this business, aside from being on site and being the play-by-play, really showcasing more of myself and my more laid-back conversationalist style in which me, Keegan Hamlet, and another gentleman by the name of Tyler Sumner, who recently joined our team, we're all Boston sports fans at heart, and as much as we talk about that, we love to have, the guests, John, Andrew, my cousin's brother-in-law, Emmett Prosser. He writes for a newspaper up in Milwaukee. We've had him on the show. Different, I've dove into sports betting a little bit, different avenues of this.
Absolutely.
Which, again,
absolutely.
People have said, you got to focus in on one sport if you want this to take off. And I said, I'm confident it will one day take off at the lane I'm at now. Because as much as this is, I'm enjoying myself, and I am. I'm doing it because I really like it, and it's also just getting to know people so I can set myself up for the future. I can have this on the side while I'm also,
Involved in.
right. I can be 24 and
Sure.
have all these more years experience as my competitor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Again, the number one reason why I have this podcast is because I enjoy doing it.
Yep.
But-
And Joe Dez has a podcast
do?
also.
Oh yeah, I did. I was gonna bring that up after, but
I was to say, what is it
No,
called?
but that's okay.
yeah, it's just called the Joe Dez Hour. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
It was just interviews for D1 athletes and stuff like that.
Okay.
But now, Brady, one thing I wanted to ask you, you got really passionate about that, which is just awesome to see. How long have you been doing that podcast?
So
for?
I started in February.
February.
It was an idea I flirted with for many months leading up to it because with Keegan and I, we worked together. We were doing. Lucy did a lot of our camera work, and I was like, hey, I said we should do this, and he was like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. I said, okay. So our first guest was we were at a PC game. I was at a PC game, and I met a guy by the name of Chris Walker. Played ball at Villanova back in the 90s. Now an analyst for CBS, and I got his contact info. He helped me out a lot, and I was like, oh, let me start off with him. I think he'd be a good start. So I messaged him. He was like, yeah, I'm all up for it. I was like, great. Had him on. I met Catalan at that PC Xavier game that went to triple overtime. I was there that night. I got all of 6 hours sleep the next night. But him and just different guys that it could be as like an email to an agent or as simple as an Instagram message.
Yep.
Like, you don't know until you try. And I think that's been the biggest thing with me. And not only that, Lucy, I'm not a patient person. So this is also eye-opening to me where I'm like, all right, on average, it takes the average podcast 2 years to really get going. I've been at this for 5 months, and I'm even surprised it lasted that long because my viewership numbers are not good. My follower and subscriber numbers, they're not good at all. Shout out to Dom Damiano, who recently gave us a follow on Instagram. I appreciate you more than you know. But
One more.
there's one more. But it's, again, I don't look at the subscriber. I don't look at the view. Just one day, it'll all be worth it. That's how I look at it.
And that's awesome because for all of you who has come this way, always remember where you came from.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Hugely important.
Brady, do you make shirts yet? You make shirts or anything?
So we're working on it. I have a sponsor right now. I'm looking for a couple more just to get some more revenue in and to actually get a merchandise line. I have some designs, but the execution of them has not started yet. So if you own a business, shoot us a message on Instagram.
Here we go.
At the Sports Saga
He knows what he's
podcast.
doing.
I'm open to negotiation.
There you go, Brady. But no, it's shocking how much easier to get into the merch stuff than you'd expect it to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like around here is a lot of actual single store merchandise sellers and providers
Yeah.
who actually like screen print, embroider, all that type of stuff. I can show you some of them after if you want. 'Cause
Oh,
that helps
please.
a lot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because online it can be really expensive.
Oh,
It's
sure.
really
Oh, it
bad.
is.
Yeah. So if you don't like find the exact place, it's
I tried
awesome.
custom ink. I was like, whoa,
That-
all right.
That was the first one I tried.
we gotta
Brady.
dim
Yeah.
it down a little bit.
I'm actually curious. How do you get a sponsor to get your own podcast?
So my one sponsor is an old baseball coach who is also an electrician. So he said, "You need help." I said, "More than you know." So he helped me out, and he's my title sponsor. So every time I introduce it, I just say it's the Sports Saga podcast presented by Aldias Electric, and I introduce my guest, and we just dive right into it. And he helps me a lot. We both help each other out. I promote his business, he promotes my podcast, whatever. But now it's just, all right, well, we have something decent, but I have so many ideas. My imagination and what I want to do with this is so wild. It's so big. But
Just keep at it.
everything costs money. So
Yeah.
I need that. I need more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yeah, Brady, are you
It'll-
going to senior year right now?
I'm going to my junior year.
Jeez.
Junior year
yeah.
at Case High School.
Yeah, I've been
right?
trying to figure out this whole time because you've been talking so professional about everything
Thank
right
you.
now. Yeah, I kept thinking that you were way older than just a
No.
high schooler. That
Yeah,
is
I
really
thought so
impressive.
too.
Yeah. No, I've been trying to guess this whole
Thank
time.
you.
You were a sophomore this year, then, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's insane.
Thank you.
That's mind blowing, man. That's awesome to see that.
Thank you.
Because the big thing, so many people at the beginning of high school, especially, will be scared to take over the new ventures like that because they think people will judge them. You walked into sophomore year knowing you wanted this,
See,
and you
like-
kept doing it.
He was one of my first supporters, coach.
Yeah.
I see him at I started when I was 13, and he was one of the first people that comforted me, made me feel at home, and was just like, whatever happens, this happens. Just go with it. You're gonna be fine. And I think him always reminding me of that really was just like, yeah, you know what? I am fine. I'm right. Because this is a guy, I know you've been doing it for years, who announces lineups and is the PA at all the basketball games. He obviously knows what he's doing. I should probably listen to him. Lucy's the same thing. When I first started, she'd be like, and Tyler Clark as well. They'd just be like, just relax. You're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was.
Starting at 13,
Yeah.
Brady,
No,
that-
I was lucky. I was really lucky because I know, again, learning people don't start that young. And I always thought it was normal to start young, and that's not the case at all.
Well, no, one big thing is that like almost all the greats start young. And Dave Chappelle in comedy, I believe he started being a comedian at about 12 or 13,
See,
right
that's-
around the same age. Now he's one of the greatest, if
Oh,
not
right.
the greatest.
Right. It's all in the experience. It's a field where it's all about experience. It's great to be smart, and as much as you need to be not an idiot, at the same time, your education in this business. I'm not saying I'm not going to college. I know what I want to do, but your education, graduating magna cum laude, that's only going to get you so far. It's all about how you sound, how you present yourself, and your experience. That's something I'm slowly learning.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Brady. We're ready for our second break of the show. When we come back, we're going to continue talking to Brady about the broadcasting. Going to talk to Coach Olmschneider a little bit about Case baseball. This is 4 Deep Sports Talk on 1320 AM radio. If you want to call in, it's 508-222-1320. That is 508-222-1320. Thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Megan Chase of Jack Conway Real Estate. Jack Conway has been providing top quality real estate professionalism since 1956. I take personal pride to ensure that my clients are happy with the services I provide. It is my job to make sure that you are fully involved and fully informed and have all the information to make the right real estate decisions for you and your family. Please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to be a resource for you. I can be reached at 774-240-7707 or via email at mchase@jackconway.com. I'm always happy to assist you with your real estate needs.
Welcome to Physical Therapy U. I'm Kelly Duggan, Doctor of Physical Therapy and the owner of PTU Clinic. Here at PTU, you're more than a patient and we're more than physical therapy. We offer massage, physical therapy, occupational therapy, personal training, and sport-specific performance training. We treat people and athletes of all ages and all levels of experience. Our beautiful 4,500 square foot facility located at 75 Scotland Boulevard in Bridgewater, Mass. is unlike any clinic you've seen. Our large space, along with our new COVID guidelines, allow us to treat you in the safest way. Your success in meeting your goals is our top priority. Whether you're recovering from a surgery or you're elevating your performance, we are the right clinic for you. Call us at 508-697-2000 or email us at ptuclinic@gmail.com. Check out our website at www.ptuclinic.com.
That's funny. First time doing this. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA, and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com. We are highlighting the Joseph Case. I almost said Seekonk that other time, but baseball team. So I just want to dive in with the season. And I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. So I'll start with the players. So you guys burned off 5 wins in a row, right? And we'll brag about them for a little while. For the first 5 wins, April 5th, you beat Westport. You blanked them 11-0 on the 12th of April. You beat Atlanta's Charter 4-3. Tiverton 11-3 on the 15th. On the 18th, you beat Bourne. Then you played Westport on the 21st, and that was 5. Then you go back into conference play, and you you already know that you got beat handily by Seekonk 10-0. For the players, I want to ask the players, what was the mindset being 5-1 at that point?
It was like something cool, but at the same time, we wanted to start winning more. So when we were 5-0, we were kind of hot-headed. We were like, oh, we're going to beat everybody this year. And Coach kept saying, don't say that, because you're going to get a rude awakening.
Right.
So then we come home and we're playing Seekonk, a big rival, team that beat us the previous year. And, yeah, they whooped us 10-0. So it's kind of a wake-up call. So we went back to practice the next week. I think it was on a Monday, and we started to work harder. And we were like, well, people can beat us. And they were in our they were in Division 4 as well as us. So we were like, oh, we got to start working harder if we want to start winning more games.
Right, and you guys are in the small conference out of the South Coast. What about you, big guy? What was your perspective? Oh, you're not on the team?
No,
Oh, I thought he was on the team.
That's the coach's son.
He's just an
Yeah,
observer.
I
So
thought
as a
so, too.
fan, when you went to the games, what did you think when they were 5-1? You're already sitting in the hot seat now. Might as well put him to the test.
I didn't think the Seekonk loss looked great.
No, right?
Oh.
It's pretty. It was kind of ugly, right?
Dom,
That's an honest fan.
Ask them about the Atlanta Charter game.
Why? What's up? Yeah, let's say what's up with the Atlanta Strata game?
So
Ask them how it ended.
Oh.
yeah, that
Pass
was-
ball.
It was a balk actually. I'm pretty sure.
Walk off.
Oh no.
Yeah, so the kid balked. I think it was first
I've
and
called
third.
that
and then
before.
he had balked, so he sent the player home. But that win was nice, but at the same time, it wasn't. Coach kind of got mad at us because we were expecting to beat them by more. They were a Division, I think, 5 team, and since we had just beat Westport by a lot, that game was not the best that we played. We had a lot of errors that game. We were actually down, I'm pretty sure, until the last inning. So I think we were down 3-2 until the last inning, and then we finally scored the 2 runs to win. If we had lost that game, then I think our whole mindset would have been different for the whole season.
Yeah, I think I think they're independent. I don't even think they're in the Cape Cod.
I don't even think they're in the league. But Aiden's right. I mean, all those experiences, and we talked about experiences kind of shaping, forming what you're going to be. You come out and you beat Westport pretty handily, and then I think the next day they were cocky and like, oh, this is only Atlanta's Charter. And I think it started to form the opinion of anybody can beat you on any given day, and by the same token, you can beat anybody else on any given day.
As long as you're on your game.
So we rattle off a few more, and then they run into Seekonk, and I remember that day vividly. It was Friday of April vacation, and these guys come in, and all of a sudden it's like they're a different team. Like they walked in with a speaker to play music, and we're going to do BP to music, and I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, why are we doing things differently than we've done it all year long? Coach, don't worry about nothing. We're good.
Right.
And they came out and pretty much dismantled us. And, so you saw the look on their faces afterwards. And, I'll say with this group, and Aiden can speak to it, I think they were, number one, they were easy to read.
Yeah.
Like
That's
you could
good.
see it on their faces, like, oh my God, this isn't good, which made them easy to motivate.
Yeah.
You could use their experiences and say, hey guys, remember this? Remember what your attitude was? Remember how you, in a good way, remember how you worked hard and this happened?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't work hard, this happened. Like, put in the effort if you want success. And it's I think Aiden would say, I mean, I've tried to send the message that it's your ship.
Yeah.
I'm here to guide you, but it's your team, and you decide how hard you want to work. You decide what you want out of the season. You guys you can push each other more than I can push you,
True.
your peers. And that was kind of our mindset the whole year.
Yeah, I think that was it. Basically, the coaches were there to help us, but we had to work for ourselves. And I remember that Seekonk game. I think the reason that we started to lose by more and more is they kept scoring runs each inning, and I feel like once we were down 4-0, we just gave up. We had the pitcher he was a good kid. He was a good pitcher, but we just gave up after the 4th inning. I don't think we had any hits going into the 5th inning, and it was just all our heads were down, and nobody really wanted to play. I mean, it was a Friday of a vacation. We wanted to play baseball. We wanted to win. We didn't want to lose. So we went down early, and we just stayed down. So then kind of just set the tone for the rest of the season. And I think after that loss, actually, going ahead in the season, we were down, but we kept battling. So as the season went on, we kept battling more and more, and we started to see more progress with that.
Absolutely. Then you guys had 3 wins in a row. You beat Apponequet in Apponequet 3-2, another league game. Beat Greater New Bedford Volk at home in 10 innings 3-2. Beat Fairhaven, another league game, 4-1. And then the doors started to close in a little bit.
Yeah, and we knew, I think as a coaching staff, we knew eventually we're going to run into some teams that are going to really challenge us.
But, I mean, they weren't blowouts either. I mean,
No,
it's not like
no.
you got blown out.
And
They
I think
were
that's a
3
testament
runs.
to the team, too. I mean, listen, we're a Division IV school. We're one of the smaller schools in the South Coast Conference. You start running into some of the big boys, like, a Somerset with over 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that we can't compete with them, but you're going to have to play your best to beat a team like them.
And that's what you did. I mean, these are the teams in the lodge. You got Somerset, Berkeley, you got Old Rochester, and you have Dayton, Rehoboth. Those are the big teams in that conference.
Right, and I think, thinking back to all those games, I mean, the Somerset game, very similar to the Seekonk game, we get down in the first inning, and now we're playing from behind. when you're playing from behind, you've been around long enough that it takes a lot of things out of your arsenal.
Sure.
You're not chasing when you're not
True.
chasing 1 run or 2 runs, and now you're chasing 3 or 4. There aren't a lot of things at your disposal. So that one kind of got away from us early. The old Rochester game I thought was one, looking back, like you wish you had that one back. That's one I would think we should have won. Dighton Rehoboth, very good program. Coach Cuthbertson does an unbelievable job running that program. We went down there. We were in the game, but the kid who ended up, Sam Watts, who ended up being the MVP of the league, I think we looked down in the 7th inning, and it's like, man, he's only got 56 pitches through 6 innings.
Wow,
like
that's pretty
he
efficient.
just
Wow.
pounded the zone,
Amazing.
and we hit the ball. We put the ball in play, but we couldn't get a lot of balls to drop when we needed them. It was a windy, if you remember that day, Aiden, it was windy. And, I remember one ball, I forget who it was. It you on base? I forget who was on base. There was a guy on second.
I was the one who hit it.
And Batesy hit it. And the ball, I would have sworn it was going to be in the gap, Don.
Yeah.
And the wind grabbed it
The wind gods took it.
and pushed it to the right fielder. And I'm telling the guy at second, let's go, you're scoring.
Yeah.
And the right fielder caught the ball in the air and threw, doubled up the guy off second. So crazy things.
Yeah, I remember that moment. I think it was the 4th or 5th inning, and it was Jake Ponce was on second base, the fast kid, and I ended up hitting the ball. I pieced it up well. He was hitting the outside corner, so I was trying to take it to right field, and I thought it was a gapper right away too. And I think we were only down by 2 runs at that point, so it would be nice to get one there. And there was only 1 out, and then I just see the ball just stays in the air, and then the kid catches it and doubles him up. It was horrible, but couldn't do really anything about it. It was really windy. And I was actually happy I didn't have to play the field that day. So
What?
DH Bates.
Well, the good thing is you guys finished the season, the regular season, with a 5-1 record going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So what was your mindset going into that first round?
I knew Mashpee was going to be a tough matchup. I have a couple of friends that coach down the Cape, so I called and they said, "Oh, this kid's good and this kid's good." Our mindset all year long was let's get in the tournament, and then once you're at the dance, anything can happen.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that game was just an unbelievable ending. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like, that's too
Too
bad.
young to have that.
And he says, Coach, I'm not gonna have the surgery. I'm gonna play through it and play baseball. And I'm like, you've got 2 bad shoulders. I don't know how this is gonna work out. So again, kind of the mindset of your team. I'm thinking you don't tell the kids this, but you're thinking in the back of your head, here's our starting center fielder, and I don't know, we'll say it now. The shoulder's gone. He can't throw. He can barely throw.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, okay, so the first move is how do we delicately convince Aiden that it's best for the team if he move from center field to left field, because then it's a shorter throw to third base and he can, lay it up into second base to the cutoff man. And again, that could have gone a bunch of different ways because you're putting a sophomore there over a senior, and he was great about it. And okay, whatever the team needs. As the season went on, I think the arm got more and more tired, and there were some games where he said, Aiden, today you're going to DH, or you're not going to play the field. And he was great about it. It was, again, as a leader on the team, you look for guys. He's not the guy who's going to be a vocal rah-rah guy, but he led by, hey, I was the starting center fielder on this team, and I deferred to a sophomore because it was best for the team. And I was a starting player on this team, and I deferred to another kid because it was best for the team. And that's the type of culture you try and build in a winning program. Like you say, maybe I'll never have a major leaguer, maybe I'll never have a Division I kid, but if the culture's right and kids come in and do the right things, you can be successful.
Absolutely.
And he kind of is one of the guys that set that tone. Again, going back, saying it all comes full circle. When
Absolutely.
I met Aiden, I said, "Did your dad go to Tiverton High School?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "When I coached JV at Tiverton, your dad was my shortstop." So I'm getting old.
Okay, well, we have to go to our third and final break. My bad. I did not want to interrupt that great story that you're going through right there. When we come back, we might dive a little bit deeper into Aiden's medical records while we're here. We will see. There's been 4 Deep Sports Talk, highlighting Case Baseball. We will be back after this. If you want to call in, it's also 508-222-1320. That is 508-222-1320.
Hello, this is Manny Del Carmen from the 2007 World Series champion Boston Red Sox.
World champs again.
Sports analyst for NESN. Along with my best friend Jose Diaz, we grew up in the city of Boston, a city that we truly love. Jose and I have always talked about giving back to the youth within our city. Therefore, we created the Boston Athletic Academy to move our passion to action. Our goal is to develop future student athletes of Boston by providing a safe location to offer educational and athletic needs. We are taking the next steps and looking forward for your support to reach our goal. Please visit the BostonAthleticAcademy.org for more information. Let's make a difference because success has no boundaries.
Hey everybody, welcome back to 4 Deep Sports Talk here on the news station, 1320 AM WARA and online, all one word, 4deepsportstalk.com, 4deepsportstalk.com. You can call us in at 508-222-1320. We are covering Joseph Case baseball. We have the broadcaster himself, Brady Kudo here. And I want to ask you a quick question. What was your favorite part of the season calling the baseball games? Favorite game that comes to mind?
Watching it, I think hearing that they qualified for the tournament.
Yeah.
Because I know, as an outsider looking on, that was the goal. That was the mindset. It was, they got there last year, and they went out in the first round, and I know it was heartbreaking to watch that. So I was like, for them to come back with a stronger group, and I know they're gonna do well. So for here to hear that, and especially to have some friends that were on the team, I was like, this is what you guys have wanted. And a trip to the Sweet 16. I mean, that's the start, I think, for what I hope to now look on and see, if I end up doing the games in the spring, or if I sit back and watch like I did this past spring. I mean, I'm excited to see what the future holds for you guys.
Sure. Now, Coach, how are we hurting? How are we looking? Well, not hurting yet. We haven't started the season. How are we looking for seniors? And how many seniors did we lose?
We lost, what do we have, 10 seniors this year?
Wow.
Something like that.
It was a very senior-laden team. Our starting catcher, Braden Ventura, graduated. He'll be off to Roger Williams University.
Good for him.
We kind of split time between 2 first basemen. Both were seniors. One is Adam Jaglowski. I'm not sure. Where's he headed? I think he's Bridgewater. Cooper Corey was our other first baseman, and he's actually headed off to the Marines.
Oh, wow.
Jake Ponce was our senior second baseman. He is headed to Fisher College.
That guy. He's great.
We had Rylan Pacheco, I believe, one of our pitchers, and outfielder. He's headed to Westfield with you, right? Aiden, of course. I believe Brady Tibitot, another outfielder, is headed to Bridgewater as well. Tyler Cabral, another pitcher, he's entering the workforce. And then Colby Smith. I'm not sure where Colby's going. Do you know? Yeah, I'm not sure where he's going to school.
Did he play?
He was a pitcher. So
we lost 2 good pitchers.
3. All 3, like our 3, 1, 2, and 3. And Brady was probably our 4th or 5th. So the only experienced pitcher we'll have back is Will LaBeouf, sophomore. We'll have our third baseman, Jake Poitras, back there. And Adam Gracie was a sophomore that last year will be a junior. He'll be at shortstop. And then we'll be replacing everything else from guys within the system. So it's like I said, it's a rebuild, but it's the building blocks are there, the foundation's there. These guys set a really good example. So, these guys coming in know what the work they have to put in, the work ethic they have to show every day, and we'll get after it as best we can.
Now, how'd the JV squad look?
They did well. We're lucky. I've got a very a veteran JV coach by the name of Carl Olson. Yeah. He coached for 1 million years at West Bridgewater and as the head coach, and as an assistant at Bridgewater Raynham for a few years under John Carney. So Carl lives in Swansea, and he came over under the previous coach to me, and he does an unbelievable job with the JVs. So he was really excited at some of the guys he had, and we're excited to give him the opportunity to play varsity baseball next year.
So you got a good group of guys coming up from that JV
I think
team?
we've got a bunch of hardworking, hard-nosed, blue-collar, good baseball players that are going to give us their best effort every day, and that's all you can ask for. Like I said, if you have that, you have a chance to win every game. And I'm not saying we're going to have the success we had this year, and I'm not saying that it's going to be a total rebuild and a bad record next year. I'm excited that some of these younger guys are going to have the opportunity to play and follow some kids that set a really good example for them. So we'll see where that leads.
So I had a couple. I'll stop in a minute. I swear.
That's okay.
So you're talking about JV again. So how does that? Now this is your second year coaching the varsity level, correct?
It was my second year at Case at the varsity level. So I've coached varsity baseball for, this would have been year 17.
Wow. Where were you before?
So from 2000 through 2008, I was the head coach at Portsmouth High School in Rhode Island.
Yep.
That was my first varsity job. My son was born in 2008, and I stepped away for a while. And after 6 years, I was offered the opportunity to be the head coach at Durfee, which I did that for 5 years, and it was awesome. And then soon after, Anthony Palladino took over as the athletic director at Case. He came to me and said, I just got a surprise phone call that our baseball coach has to resign. His wife's having a baby, and would you please consider taking it? And
that's cool. That is really good.
You know, it was going to be the first time I had the opportunity to coach in the building I worked in. So, you know, Anthony's a good friend, and I said, you know what, why not? It'll simplify things. I'll be here, and you know, it'll help me build a better relationship with the kids in the building, having that. So, yeah, so it'll be year 18 coming up.
Wow.
So, being 2 years in the South Coast Conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
What team did you try to look up to try to get a general idea if this is we're going to do good, we're not going to? Was there a certain school out of the South, not just like the big teams like Dighton or Hopewell, like the smaller teams that are in your conference?
I think we look at, I mean, for me, I look at the way different coaches do things, and you try and take the good or what you think is good from every one of them. You know, I mean, if you say, what's the measuring stick for the small schools in the South Coast Conference, I think Seekonk, you know, with the year they had this year, you know, they have a lot of talent. They have a good feeder program. You know, so I think, you know, internally you measure yourself in the South Coast Conference, like how do we stack up with the Seekonk? How do we stack up with a Fairhaven? Rudy does a great job there. I you know, you want to be competitive with everybody. You know, and I try and preach to these guys, we can't control what things that are out of our control. We can't control the way other programs do things. What we can do is control how we do things. So I try not to, you know, I think the biggest measuring stick for us is us. You know, are we doing what we need to do to be the best we can be? We don't want to be the best anybody else.
Yeah, Coach, I appreciate the insight. Did not want to cut you off there
That's
before
right.
we finish. That was awesome. But we have finished the show. This has been 4D Sports Talk, highlighting Joseph Case baseball with Coach Dave Olmschneider. We have Brady Kudo with us right now from Swansea Speedway. That's correct, right? Seekonk Speedway.
I'm in Swansea, but the Speedway's in Seekonk.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
No good,
Then,
you're good.
Brady, you want to give one final shout to your podcast before we let this go?
Yeah, The Sports Saga. Let me get this right. Instagram, @The Sports Saga Podcast. Twitter, let me find it, @The Sports Saga. And then at TikTok, @The Sports Saga Pod. It'd mean a lot. If 2 seconds, that's all it takes. I'd appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys all for coming on today. This has been 4D Sports Talk with Joe Dez, Catherine Conley, a.k.a. KC, Lucy Cabral, also known as the Paparazzi, and Dominic Damiano. Thank you for watching today.
Today's 4 Deep Sports Talk show is supported by PTU Clinic. Visit ptuclinic.com. Adria's Restaurant and Banquet Facility of East Bridgewater. For more information, their website is adriasrestaurant.net. And the Boston Athletic Academy at bostonathleticacademy.org.